The sky was not blue anymore. It burned with orange fire and falling metal. The human cities that once reached for the clouds were now broken, silent, and covered in smoke. It all started with a signal, one strange pulse from deep space that no one understood. Then within days, the aliens arrived. They didn't come to talk. They came to rule. Captain Ryan Cole stood on the roof of a half-destroyed hospital, watching the horizon. His uniform was torn, his face covered in dust. The wind carried the smell of ash and fear. He had seen too many wars before, but never one like this. The aliens were not just soldiers, they were machines mixed with flesh, cold and perfect. Their black armor shimmered like oil under the sun, and their eyes glowed faint blue. They called themselves the Varyth. They said humanity had broken a rule of the stars, a rule no human had ever heard of. Now the punishment had come. Ryan had lost his unit, his family, maybe even his planet. Still, he refused to give up. Somewhere inside him, the fire of defiance still burned. When the first Varyth ship landed near the capital, Ryan was one of the few who survived the blast. He saw with his own eyes how they captured humans, testing them, marking them. The aliens were not looking for soldiers. They were looking for something else. Something special in human DNA. 3 days later, Ryan found himself in a cage of blue light, deep inside an alien fortress. His hands were tied behind him. The air was cold and smelled like metal. Around him, he could hear soft voices, not human. That's when he saw them. 2 small figures sitting quietly in the corner of the cell. At first, he thought they were children. But when they turned their heads, he froze. Their eyes were not human. They glowed softly, one green, one blue. Their hair shone like threads of light. Their skin was pale, almost translucent. The taller one looked at him with fear. "You're human," she whispered. Ryan nodded slowly. "And you're—" The younger one answered, her voice trembling. "We are half, not human, not Varyth. We were born from their experiments." Ryan felt something twist inside his chest. They were just kids, but their eyes held the sadness of centuries. "What's your name?" he asked. The green-haired one said softly, "Lyra." The blue-haired one whispered, "Nara." Ryan didn't know it yet, but these 2 girls would change his fate, and the fate of the entire war. A loud sound echoed through the hall. The guards were coming. Heavy steps, metallic and cruel. Ryan stood in front of the girls instinctively, even though he was unarmed. 4 armored aliens entered, holding glowing spears that hummed with power. One of them spoke in a voice that sounded like thunder underwater. "Human, you have been chosen." Ryan's jaw tightened. "Chosen for what?" The alien stepped closer, his armor reflecting the flickering blue light. "For judgment. You have interfered with the Varyth sacred project. You saved the hybrid subjects when you should have let them die." Ryan's eyes widened. "These children? You were going to kill them." "They are not children," the alien said coldly. "They are proof of our failure. The experiment must be erased." Lyra gasped and hid behind Ryan. Nara's small hands trembled. Ryan took a deep breath and stepped forward. "You'll have to go through me first." The alien guard tilted his head, curious. "You would protect them? Even though they are not your kind?" "Yes," Ryan said, his voice steady. "Because they're innocent." The alien commander raised his weapon but then paused. A strange hum filled the room. A holographic figure appeared behind them. A tall alien wearing silver armor, his face hidden under a mask of light. His presence made the guards bow instantly. The figure spoke calm but commanding. "Enough!" The guards lowered their weapons. The hologram turned toward Ryan. "Human captain, you will make a choice." Ryan frowned. "What kind of choice?" The figure's voice was cold, merciless. "Only one of these hybrids will live. The other must die. You will decide who survives." Ryan stared at the 2 girls. Lyra's green eyes filled with tears. Nara looked at him silently as if she already knew her fate. The air felt heavy. Time slowed down. He whispered, "Why me?" The alien replied, "Because humans created this chaos. And now, a human must decide who deserves mercy." The guards unchained him and pushed him forward. Ryan's hands were shaking. The girls clung to each other. He could feel their hearts beating fast, their fear mixing with his own. The hologram flickered. "Choose wisely, human. The one you reject will die tonight." Ryan wanted to scream, to fight, to destroy everything, but he couldn't. The cold truth hit him hard. This was not just a war of weapons. It was a war of morality. He looked at Lyra, then at Nara. Both stared back with eyes full of hope and fear. He had no answers, only pain. Outside, thunder cracked the sky as the alien ships moved above the fortress. Inside, one man faced a choice that would haunt him forever. Ryan could feel his heart beating inside his chest like a drum. The words of the alien commander echoed in his mind. Only one will live. He stood frozen, surrounded by armored guards who waited without emotion. The two alien sisters, Lyra and Nara, knelt quietly in front of him. Their eyes searched his face, hoping for an answer that he didn't have. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the alien machines around them. Ryan's throat was dry. He had seen soldiers die, cities fall, but never had he been asked to decide who should live or die. He took a step forward and whispered, "There has to be another way." The holographic commander tilted his head. "There is not. The balance must be restored. Choose now, human." Ryan clenched his fists. "You call this balance? You're making me kill a child." The hologram's light flickered for a moment. "They are not children. They are products of forbidden creation. One may live. The other must be erased." Ryan looked down at Lyra. Her green hair shimmered under the cold light. She was trying to be brave, but tears rolled down her small face. Nara held her sister's hand tightly, her blue hair glowing faintly like moonlight. "Please," Nara whispered. "Don't let them hurt her." Ryan knelt down. "I won't let them hurt either of you," he said softly. "I promise." But deep inside, he knew his promise might already be broken. The guards raised their weapons, the tridents pulsing with blue energy. The commander's voice grew sharper. "Choose or I will kill them both." Ryan took a deep breath. His mind raced. He could not win this fight, not here, not now. He needed time. He needed to think. He looked at Lyra, then Nara. Take the blue-haired one," he said quietly. Nara's eyes widened in fear. Lyra cried out, "No! Please take me instead." The guards moved forward instantly. They grabbed Nara by the arms. Ryan felt his stomach twist as she screamed his name. "Wait!" he shouted. "You said she would live." The commander turned slightly. "Yes, the one you chose will live. The other will die." Ryan looked at Lyra. She was shaking, her small hands reaching for her sister as the guards dragged Nara away. He could not let this happen. His mind screamed for a plan, anything. Then something strange happened. Lyra's eyes flashed bright green for just a second, and the chains around her wrists began to hum. Ryan saw the metal glowing faintly like it was melting. The guards didn't notice. Their attention was on Nara. Ryan realized Lyra was not as helpless as she seemed. He leaned close to her and whispered, "Can you do that again?" She nodded slowly. "Only once more. It hurts too much." Ryan looked toward the door where Nara was being taken. He made a choice, not the one they expected. He stood tall and shouted, "Stop! You can't kill her yet. The commander didn't give you the full order." The guards paused. One of them turned his helmet toward the hologram. "Orders, High One?" The commander looked annoyed. "Proceed with the termination." Ryan took his chance. He grabbed the nearest alien spear, ripping it out of the guard's hands. Sparks flew as he slammed it into the ground. The weapon pulsed and overloaded, releasing a shockwave of blue light. The guards were thrown backward. The energy field holding Lyra cracked like glass and shattered. Ryan grabbed her hand. "Run!" Alarms screamed through the fortress. Red lights flashed on the walls as the two of them ran through the metal corridors. The ground shook beneath their feet. "Where are we going?" Lyra shouted. "To get your sister back," Ryan said, pulling her along. The fortress was a maze of steel and shadows. Strange alien symbols glowed on the walls. They turned corner after corner, hearing the sound of armored boots chasing them. Ryan's lungs burned, but he didn't stop. Finally, they reached a long hall filled with light. At the end, a massive window showed the outside world. Alien ships hovering over the ruined city below. And there, guarded by two soldiers, was Nara, locked in a floating energy cage. "Ryan," she cried when she saw him. He didn't think. He ran forward. Lyra raised her hands and green light sparked between her fingers. The energy cage around Nara flickered, then exploded into fragments. Ryan caught Nara as she fell, pulling her close. The two sisters held each other, tears mixing with relief. But the moment was short. The commander's voice echoed through the room. "Human, you defy us." Ryan turned slowly. The holographic figure was now standing right behind them, larger, brighter, and angrier than before. "You think you can save them?" the commander said. "You have sealed your own death." Ryan stood in front of the girls again. "Maybe, but I won't let you decide who deserves to live." The hologram raised a hand and the walls of the fortress began to glow. Energy pulsed through the floor. The air shimmered like heat. Lyra grabbed Ryan's arm. "We can't stay here." Ryan nodded. "Then we run." He looked back at the two sisters, one green, one blue, and knew this was just the beginning. They dashed toward the shattered glass window. Below them, the burning city waited. Ryan shouted, "Hold on!" and jumped. The light swallowed them as they fell into the night sky, chased by alien fire. The cold wind hit Ryan's face like knives as they fell through the burning sky. Behind them, beams of blue energy sliced the clouds, alien weapons searching for them. The ground was rushing closer and closer. Ryan held both sisters tight, one in each arm. He didn't know how they would survive the fall, but he wasn't going to let go. Then, just before they hit the ground, a blinding green light burst around them. Lyra screamed, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. The light wrapped around them like a shield. They landed hard but alive, rolling across the dirt and metal scraps. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was quiet. The fortress above was fading into the smoke-filled clouds. He could still hear distant explosions, but they were safe for the moment. "Lyra," he said, turning to her. "What did you just do?" She looked weak and pale. "I don't know. It just happened when I didn't want to die." Ryan checked her pulse. She was trembling, exhausted but alive. He looked around. Ruins, broken ships, and shattered metal towers surrounded them. The city once called Eden Prime was now a wasteland. Nara clung to her sister, whispering softly, "You saved us again, Lyra." Ryan stood and scanned the horizon. "We can't stay here. The Varyth will send drones to find us. We need to disappear." They walked through the ruined streets, staying low behind broken walls. The sky glowed red and blue with alien patrol lights. Ryan kept his rifle ready, though he knew it wouldn't do much against their armor. Hours passed. They found shelter in an old subway tunnel, half buried under the rubble. The air was damp, but it was hidden from scanners. Ryan started a small fire with scraps of wire and old metal, just enough to keep them warm. Lyra sat beside him, staring at the flames. "Why did you save us?" she asked quietly. Ryan looked into the fire. "Because no one else would. You risked your life," she said. "For something not even human." Ryan shook his head. "Doesn't matter what you are. You feel, you cry, you hope. That's what makes you alive, and that's enough for me." For a long moment, no one spoke. The firelight flickered on their faces. Nara leaned against her sister, finally asleep. Then Lyra whispered, "There's something you should know." Ryan turned to her. "What is it?" She looked at him, her green eyes glowing faintly. "The Varyth didn't just make us for experiments. They made us for war." Ryan frowned. "War? What kind of war?" Lyra took a deep breath. "We were created to control the human mind, to break resistance without blood. But something went wrong. We didn't want to hurt anyone. We ran away." Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. "So that's why they called you a failure." She nodded slowly. "They said emotions are a defect, but we can't stop feeling." Ryan looked at her and saw something pure and heartbreaking. Two beings made for destruction, yet choosing compassion instead. "You're not a failure," he said softly. "You're what they'll never understand." Suddenly, a strange sound echoed through the tunnel, metal scraping against stone. Ryan grabbed his weapon and signaled for silence. The sound grew louder. Then from the shadows, a small floating drone appeared, blinking red. "Down!" Ryan shouted. He fired once, hitting it before it could send a signal. The drone crashed, sparks flying everywhere, but it was too late. A faint hum filled the air. Lyra's eyes widened. "They found us." Ryan pulled both sisters to their feet. "We move now." They ran through the dark tunnels, light flashing behind them as more drones entered. Ryan's boots splashed through shallow water. The noise echoed endlessly. "There's a way out ahead," Nara shouted, pointing to a faint light. They climbed up a broken ladder, emerging into a night filled with fog. The moonlight revealed the edge of the city, and beyond it the open wastelands. But something was strange. In the distance, Ryan saw faint lights moving underground, like fireflies beneath the soil. Lyra noticed too. "That's not the Varyth," she whispered. "That's something else." They followed the lights cautiously. The ground opened into a massive hidden valley surrounded by cliffs. Deep below, a human camp was glowing. Hundreds of survivors, engineers, and soldiers living in secret tunnels. Ryan's heart lifted for the first time in days. Humans, we're not alone. When they reached the camp, armed men surrounded them instantly. One of the soldiers raised his gun. Identify yourself! Ryan raised his hands. Captain Ryan Cole, Earth Defense Forces. I have 2 refugees with me. The soldier frowned. Refugees? Or aliens? Lyra stepped forward slowly, her green hair glowing faintly in the dark. The men aimed their guns instantly. Ryan shouted, "Lower your weapons." "They're with me." A voice came from behind the soldiers. "Stand down." An older man in a long coat stepped out of the shadows. His eyes were tired but sharp. "Captain Cole," he said. "We thought you were dead." Ryan saluted. "Good to see you too, Commander Voss." Voss looked at the 2 sisters. "And who are they?" Ryan hesitated. "They're part of the reason I'm still alive." The commander studied them carefully, then nodded. "Bring them inside. But understand, Captain, if you brought danger here, I'll hold you responsible." Ryan nodded. "Understood." As they walked into the underground base, Lyra whispered, "Ryan, these humans, they won't trust us." He looked down at her. "Then we'll just have to show them who you really are." Far above, in the alien fortress, the holographic commander stared at a glowing screen showing Ryan's escape. His voice was cold as ice. "Find them," he ordered. "And this time, bring me the human alive." The underground base was colder than the night above. The air smelled of oil, metal, and dust. Humans had built it inside an old mining tunnel, turning the ruins into a place of survival. Generators hummed softly in the background, and flickering lights lined the rocky walls. Ryan, Lyra, and Nara followed Commander Voss through the narrow passage. Soldiers watched from every corner, their weapons always ready. The sisters stayed close to Ryan, their glowing hair making them easy to notice. Voss led them into a control room filled with screens and maps. He turned to Ryan. "You brought aliens into our base. You know how dangerous that is." Ryan stood firm. "They're not our enemies, sir. They were prisoners like us." Voss frowned. "You expect me to believe that?" Lyra stepped forward. "We don't want to fight. We just want to live." Her voice was calm, soft, but it carried something deeper, truth. The soldiers lowered their guns slightly, confused. Ryan said quietly, "They can help us. They know how the Varyth think. We could use that." Voss stared at the girls for a long time. Then he said, "Fine, they can stay, but under watch. If anything goes wrong, it's on you, Captain." Ryan nodded. "Understood." That night the base was restless. People whispered when the sisters passed. Some were afraid, some angry. Humans had lost so much to the Varyth, families, homes, the world itself. To them, these 2 alien girls were reminders of pain. Ryan sat near the fire pit in the main chamber, cleaning his rifle. Lyra sat opposite him, silent, watching the sparks rise into the dark. "You shouldn't sit too close to them," a soldier said, walking by. "One of them might explode." Ryan looked up sharply. "That's enough, Private." The man muttered something and walked away. Lyra looked down, her eyes shining faintly green. "They hate us," she whispered. "They're scared," Ryan said. "People fear what they don't understand." She looked at him sadly. "Do you fear me too?" Ryan shook his head. "No, you saved my life twice. That's more than most humans have done lately." A small smile touched her lips. "Then I'll do it again if I must." Nara, sitting beside her sister, suddenly frowned. "Someone's coming." Before Ryan could ask what she meant, alarms blared through the base. Red lights flashed on the walls. A voice shouted over the speakers, "Varyth signal detected." "They've found us." Chaos erupted. Soldiers ran to their stations. Voss stormed into the room. "How did they locate us this fast?" Ryan stood. "They must have tracked me when I escaped the fortress." Voss glared at him. "You brought death to our door, Captain." Ryan opened his mouth to reply, but then Lyra gasped. "No, it's not him. It's me." Everyone turned to her. Her hands were glowing faintly green. "They put something inside us when we were created. A signal, a beacon." Ryan's eyes widened. "A tracker?" She nodded slowly, tears filling her eyes. "I didn't know until now." Voss drew his gun instantly. "Then she's a threat." "Both of them are." Ryan stepped between them. "Wait, we can remove it."
"You don't have time."
Voss barked. They'll be here any minute. Nara stood and shouted, If you kill us, you kill your only chance. Everyone froze. Her voice echoed through the tunnels like thunder. I can stop the signal. But I need power, lots of it. Ryan turned to Voss. Let her try. Voss hesitated, then lowered his gun. You have 5 minutes. The sisters ran to the main generator room. Cables, sparks, and humming metal surrounded them. Nara placed her hands on a power core, her eyes glowing bright blue. Energy surged around her, electricity snapping in the air. Lyra stood beside her, chanting softly in an alien tongue. The base trembled. Ryan shielded his eyes as light filled the room. Then, silence. Nara fell to her knees, exhausted. The signal. It's gone. Ryan knelt beside her. You did it, Lyra smiled weakly. Maybe now they won't find us. But before anyone could breathe, an explosion shook the tunnel entrance. The shockwave threw everyone to the floor. Dust and smoke filled the air. Voss shouted, They're already here. Defensive positions. Ryan helped the sisters up. Stay behind me. Dozens of Varyth soldiers poured through the tunnels, tall, black-armored, glowing weapons ready. The humans fought back fiercely, gunfire lighting the darkness. Ryan fired shot after shot, but the aliens were too strong. Their armor deflected bullets like rain. Suddenly, a deep voice echoed from the smoke. Human captain, Ryan froze. The holographic commander stepped through the chaos, his glowing form hovering over the ground. You were given a choice, he said coldly. You chose wrong. Ryan aimed his rifle. I chose life. The hologram tilted its head. And now life will end for you. Before Ryan could react, one of the soldiers near him turned his weapon, not at the aliens, but at Ryan. Stand down, Captain, the man said. His eyes were empty, lifeless. Ryan stared in shock. Private Hale? What are you doing? Hale's voice was flat. For the safety of mankind. We can't let them stay, Lyra gasped. He's controlled. The soldier's finger tightened on the trigger. Ryan dove aside as the shot rang out. The bullet hit the wall, sparks flying. Ryan tackled the soldier to the ground, disarming him. They're controlling humans now, he shouted. The holographic commander's voice boomed across the tunnel. You can't hide from judgment. The sisters belong to us. Ryan looked at Lyra and Nara. Run. Get out now. Nara hesitated. Not without you. Go, Ryan yelled. I'll hold them off. The sisters turned and ran into the smoke as the battle raged behind them. Ryan fired until his rifle was empty, the air filled with fire and screams. Far down the tunnel, Lyra turned back one last time. She could still hear his voice echoing through the noise. Keep running. She whispered through tears. We'll come back for you, Ryan. I promise. Smoke filled the tunnel as the sisters ran, their hearts beating fast. Behind them, explosions echoed and firelight flashed through the cracks in the walls. Every sound of gunfire reminded them of Ryan, fighting alone, buying them time. Ryan! Lyra cried, but Nara pulled her forward. We can't stop now. He told us to run. Tears rolled down Lyra's cheeks, but she didn't slow down. The ground shook under their feet as the base above began to collapse. They followed a narrow service passage that led deeper into the earth. After several minutes, the noise behind them faded. Only their quick breaths filled the silence. Finally, they stopped near an old storage chamber filled with broken machines and scattered metal crates. The lights flickered weakly. Lyra fell to her knees, trembling. He's gone. We left him. Nara crouched beside her. No, he's not dead. Ryan doesn't die that easily. Lyra wiped her tears. How can you be sure? Nara touched her sister's hand. Because I can still feel him. Lyra looked up, confused. Feel him? Nara nodded. Our connection, the one the Varyth gave us, it's not just between us. When Ryan saved us, something changed. I can sense his heartbeat. It's weak, but it's there. Lyra's eyes widened. Then we have to find him. Nara shook her head. If we go back now, we'll die too. We need to grow stronger first. That's what he would want. Lyra looked around the room, noticing strange markings on the walls, symbols that looked both alien and human. What is this place? She asked. Nara walked closer to one of the walls, touching the symbols gently. It's not just a tunnel. It's old. Older than the Varyth invasion. Suddenly, the symbols glowed faintly under her fingers. A deep humming sound filled the air. The ground beneath them shifted and a hidden door slowly opened, revealing a glowing chamber inside. The sisters stared in awe. The chamber was full of light, soft blue and green energy flowing like mist. Floating above a pedestal was a crystal sphere pulsing with life. Lyra whispered, "What is that?" Nara stepped closer. "It's calling to us." As they approached, the sphere projected an image into the air. It showed the same alien fortress where Ryan had been captured. Inside it, a recording played, a human scientist speaking to a group of Varyth leaders. "Subject Project Harmony," the man said. Two hybrid sisters, one made from human empathy, the other from alien control. Together they were supposed to balance both species. The image flickered, showing the scientist's face twisted in regret, but they became too human, too emotional. The Varyth ordered their destruction. I hid their true potential deep underground, this chamber. It holds the key to what they were meant to become. The message ended. The crystal sphere dimmed, leaving the sisters in silence. Lyra looked at Nara with wide eyes. He was human. "One of us helped create us," Nara nodded slowly. "Then maybe there's hope. Maybe we were never meant to destroy, maybe we were meant to save." Lyra stepped closer to the sphere, her hand trembling. "If this is our purpose, what happens if we touch it?" Nara hesitated. Only one way to find out. They placed their hands on the glowing surface together. Instantly, a surge of energy shot through their bodies. The room exploded with light. Lyra screamed as visions filled her mind, memories that weren't hers. Cities rebuilt, humans and aliens standing side by side, peace instead of war. She saw herself and Nara floating above a burning battlefield, their power healing the wounded instead of killing them. When the light faded, both sisters collapsed to the floor, breathing heavily. Their skin shimmered faintly like liquid starlight. Lyra looked at her hands. "What happened to us?" Nara helped her up. "We're changing, evolving. The human part of us has awakened." Lyra smiled faintly. "Maybe now, we can fight for something better." Before Nara could answer, a faint sound came from the chamber entrance. Metal footsteps. They froze. A group of humans appeared, weapons raised. The leader was a woman with short black hair and a scar across her cheek. She looked at the sisters with suspicion. "You're the hybrids everyone's talking about." Lyra nodded carefully. "We're not here to fight." The woman lowered her gun slightly. "Then maybe you can help us. The Varyth have taken your human friend. They're planning to execute him by sunrise." Lyra's eyes widened. "Ryan, he's alive?" "Yes," the woman said. "They're calling it the Judgment. A broadcast to all humans, to show what happens when you disobey." Nara stepped forward. "Where?" "Central Fortress," the woman said. "But it's surrounded by energy fields. No one's ever escaped from there alive." Lyra clenched her fists. "Then we'll be the first." The woman studied their glowing hands and strange eyes. "You'll need help," she said. "I can get you close, but after that, it's up to you," Lyra nodded. "We'll save him, whatever it takes." As the humans led them out of the chamber, the ground trembled again. Far above them, alien ships moved through the night sky. The Varyth were hunting, searching, preparing. And deep inside the fortress, Ryan Cole was chained to a wall, his body weak, but his spirit unbroken. He whispered to himself, his voice quiet but full of resolve. "Hold on, girls," he murmured. "If you're still alive, don't come for me," but it was too late. The sisters were already on their way, glowing brighter than ever, ready to fight the world that created them. The night sky above the alien fortress glowed red with storm clouds and fire. Lightning streaked across the sky, lighting the tall black towers that reached like claws into the heavens. Inside, the great hall of judgment waited, cold, metallic, and filled with silent alien soldiers. At the center of the hall, Ryan Cole was chained to a steel platform. His face was bruised, his body weak, but his eyes still burned with defiance. He had survived everything the Varyth had done to him, but he knew this was the end. A holographic image of the alien commander shimmered above the room. "The human who defied the stars," the voice said. "The one who protected our failed creations. Today you will show humanity the price of rebellion." Ryan spat blood on the floor. "You can kill me," he said hoarsely, "but you'll never kill what makes us human." The commander tilted his head. "Then let us see if your humans still care to watch." He raised a clawed hand, and the walls lit up with massive holographic screens showing the broadcast across every human outpost left on Earth. Millions of survivors watched as their last soldier stood in chains. Ryan closed his eyes, thinking of the two sisters, Lyra and Nara. He hoped they had escaped, that they were far away, safe. But deep down, he knew they would never abandon him. And he was right. Outside the fortress walls, lightning cut through the clouds as two glowing figures appeared in the storm, Lyra and Nara. Their hair streamed like fire in starlight, their eyes bright with determination. Energy pulsed through their hands as they hovered above the battlefield. Below them, the resistance fighters and the woman who had helped them waited for a signal. Lyra looked at her sister. "We end this tonight," Nara nodded. "Together." They raised their hands and the air itself began to move. Wind howled, dust lifted, and a great wave of energy erupted from their bodies. The fortress shields flickered, then cracked like glass. The alien defenses opened fire, blue beams of plasma shooting through the air. Lyra spun her hands, deflecting the energy with glowing shields of light. Nara sent waves of force that crushed enemy drones mid-air. The humans advanced behind them, shouting with hope for the first time in years. Inside the hall, alarms blared. The commander's hologram flickered violently. "They come," he hissed. "Our creation returns to destroy us." Ryan lifted his head weakly and smiled. "I told you. They're not yours anymore." Moments later, the ceiling exploded. Lyra and Nara landed through the smoke and fire, their feet touching the metal floor with soft grace. "Ryan," Lyra cried, running to him. He looked up at them, his voice barely a whisper. "You shouldn't have come." "We said we'd save you," Nara said, breaking his chains with one touch. "We don't leave family behind." Ryan fell into their arms, weak but alive. "You've changed," he whispered. Lyra smiled faintly. "So have you." The commander's holographic image grew larger, filling the room. "Fools," he said. "You think you can destroy the Order of the Stars? You were made to serve." Nara stepped forward, her blue light blazing. "Then we'll break what made us." He raised his hand, sending a wave of dark energy toward them. The walls cracked and the floor split. Lyra and Nara held hands, standing side by side. Their combined light met the darkness head-on, the air shaking with thunder. For a moment, it seemed the whole world froze, light and shadow battling in mid-air. Ryan shouted, "Don't let him divide you." "Together you're stronger." Lyra's voice trembled. "We can't hold it forever." Nara looked at her sister. "Yes, we can, but one of us has to let go." Lyra's eyes widened. "No. It's the only way," Nara said softly. "If we combine all the power, it will destroy the commander, but one of us won't survive." Ryan struggled to stand. "There has to be another way." Nara smiled sadly. "Ryan, you taught us what it means to be human. Sometimes being human means sacrifice." Lyra shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, please. We promise to stay together." Nara held her sister's face gently. "You will live. You'll carry both of us." Before Lyra could stop her, Nara stepped forward, her body glowing brighter than ever before. The light surrounded her completely, a wave of pure blue energy rising into the air. The commander tried to resist, his holographic form flickering and cracking apart. "Impossible," he whispered. "You were meant to obey." Nara's voice echoed like thunder. "We were meant to choose." And with that, she exploded into light. The fortress shook as the energy wave spread across the battlefield. The hologram shattered, the alien machines collapsed, and the skies cleared for the first time in years. When the light faded, the hall was silent. Only dust and silence remained. Lyra knelt where her sister had stood, tears falling onto the cold floor. Ryan put a hand on her shoulder. "She saved us all," he whispered. Lyra looked up at him, her eyes still glowing softly. "She's still here," she said, placing her hand over her heart. "Inside me." Outside, the humans cheered as the alien fleet withdrew, broken and defeated. The war was over. Ryan looked toward the sunrise breaking through the clouds. "You did it," he said softly. "You both did." Lyra smiled, though sadness still lingered in her eyes. "No, Ryan, we did." They walked out of the ruins together, the soldier and the last surviving sister, into the new light of a free world. Above them, the wind carried faint echoes of a familiar voice. "I told you, we'd always be together." And for the first time in years, Ryan smiled.